I'm Q2's Mitch Laggy reporting live from Billings City Hall. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll preview tonight's public comment and City Council vote on a proposed non-discrimination ordinance.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Big turnout expected tonight for the Billings City Council meeting surrounding a vote whether to move forward a non-discrimination ordinance.
Now that ordinance would protect LGBTQ people from, among other things, discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation. Billings police are providing extra security at the meeting that is expected to draw a large crowd.
And Q2's Mitch Laggy is standing by now live at City Hall with more on tonight's public comment and vote and what's next for the NDO if it passes. Mitch.
Well, Russ and Jeanelle, Billings police have been tightening security for this city council meeting by only providing one entry and exit to the meeting tonight. This door behind me on the corner of North 27th Street and 3rd Avenue North is the only way to get in and out of the meeting. Now, once inside, people will have to pass through a metal detector in order to get in. Now, Billings police say that that is a similar security procedure to what is followed if you were to attend a concert at Metro Park. Now, firearms and other weapons are not allowed inside the meeting tonight. Now, this vote tonight is only to decide whether or not the non-discrimination ordinance will be placed on the council's March 23rd agenda. If passed tonight, the ordinance would still have at least 2 more council votes to become law. And if tonight's vote fails, the NDO is effectively dead in the water and would require a council member to introduce it again. The NDO vote will happen at the very end of tonight's council meeting. Now, the public will get 2 hours in total to comment before discussion is turned over to the council. Then it will proceed to vote. At 5:30 p.m., the council got underway with its usual agenda that's already more tightly packed than usual. And depending on how quickly the council moves through that regular agenda, the NDO discussion could come up as late as 9 p.m. tonight, or a little bit sooner, depending on how quickly they move. Stay with KTVQ on air and online for the latest from this Billings City Council meeting. Russ and Jeanelle, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Mitch Laggy, tonight.
Well, jury selection got underway. Testimony set to begin tomorrow in the trial of the man accused of murdering Laura Johnson.
Yellowstone County prosecutors tell us they expect to hear from witnesses all week. 53-year-old Gregory Green was arrested last April in Henderson, Nevada, and brought back to Montana to face charges. The 47-year-old Johnson went missing in September of 2018, and police have yet to recover her body. Prosecutors plan to hear witness testimony from Billings police, a forensics expert, family of Johnson, and her colleagues.
Prosecutors say they have surveillance video and photographs that point to Green. The defense plans to call a blood spatter expert and addiction specialist and plans to put into question a cell phone ping.
Opening arguments are set to begin tomorrow.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court is denying author John Krakauer's petition to force the state of Montana to release more records related to the University of Montana rape controversy from a few years ago. Krakauer has been fighting for the past several years to force the Office of Higher Education to release full records of the 2013 investigation into reported sexual assaults at UM. Those incidents formed the basis of his book, Missoula, Rape and the Justice System in a College Town. Krakauer had argued that there were unanswered questions about how UM leadership at the time handled that investigation, which preceded the high-profile rape trial and acquittal of former UM quarterback Jordan Johnson. A lower court had given Krakauer access to redacted records 2 years ago, but last year the Montana Supreme Court overturned that decision.
Well, news out of Wall Street also hits close to Main Street tonight. The Dow tumbled more than 1,000 points and marked its 3rd worst drop in history after the number of coronavirus cases spiked in Italy and South Korea. This now puts 2 more major economies at risk from a virus that has already caused widespread disruption in China. Today's events have many in our area watching the markets, monitoring how this impacts local trade.
Well, as you know, in Montana, agriculture is our biggest industry. In January, we signed a major trade agreement with China, which is going to allow them to buy more products than they ever have. Meat and grains will be the 2 biggest, and obviously cattle and wheat in this country are a big part of our agricultural exports.
And Miller goes on to say that markets don't like all this uncertainty, which creates for a lot of wild swings.
Hundreds of thousands of people have taken a seat in the Metro grandstands over the years. Chances are that includes you. But those grandstands, which were built way back in the 1940s, have definitely seen their better days. The question now is what to do about them. Tomorrow, county commissioners will decide on a request to transfer $2 million from the general fund to Metro's CIP to be used for demolition of the grandstands and asbestos removal. The recommendation from Metro staff, finance, and others to demolish the grandstands comes after a study that looked at the extraordinary cost of either upgrading or replacing the structure, which is in need of major repairs in almost all parts. Now, the plan is to have the grandstands and the offices inside out of use by the middle of May. That means the rodeo and other events will likely move inside the arena for this year's fair. The future use of that facility is still up in the air.
Well, one of the leading Republicans running for Montana's lone U.S. House seat officially filed today. State Auditor Matt Rosendale paid the Secretary of State's office online from his home. He is one in a crowded field of candidates for the open seat and says he wants to focus on areas like health care costs and veterans issues. Rosendale was the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in 2018 and has again received support from President Trump.
While the federal government has racked up a $23 trillion debt, I reduced my operating expenses by 23%. These are the same kinds of things that I want to go to the United States Congress and make sure that we put them back to work. And I am proud to be representing the people of Montana to do so.
Rosendale, along with rancher Joe Dooling, former party chair Deborah Lamb, and John Ivanovich of Butte have filed. Secretary of State Corey Stapleton and Corvallis School Superintendent Tim Johnson have not.
We're following up tonight on changes to the state's specialty license plate system.
Now, all specialty plates in danger of being revoked under the updated Montana law have until July to reach the minimum number of 400 plates. Now, the 85 nonprofits impacted by this change received a letter from the Motor Vehicle Division outlining that new grace period. MVD will also have a website where anyone can check to see how many registered sets of plates each nonprofit has sold.
Helena's Prickly Pear Land Trust Executive Director Mary Hallows says the new goal is more attainable, but it's still going to be a hard climb for a lot of nonprofits. And we've got a full list of all the specialty plates in danger of being revoked on our website, ktvq.com.
There's more news from across our state on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news. We'll dive into the cold case files and learn more about a bank robbery that took place 56 years ago today. Join me for that and more on the MTN Statewide News on the CW.
But first, still to come on tonight's 5:30 News, companies are finding out more personal information than ever before. Next up, we'll hear how all that information is getting shared and what is now being done to try and protect you.
And in sports, got to hear from this college student from Laurel who hit this full court shot for more than $11,000 at Saturday's Cat Grizz game.
Hey, coming up on weather, a lot of snow all around Montana. Any of it coming into the Billings area? We'll have the answer coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.